before she comes back, something changes. And most men never notice it because they are too busy watching her instead of watching themselves. They watch her stories. They check if she is online. They wonder if she misses them. They ask themselves why she has not texted yet. They look for hidden signs in every small move she makes. And while they are staring at her life, waiting for one clue, they miss the real shift that happens right before a woman reaches back. You stop chasing, not just with your hands, not just with your phone, not just with your messages. You stop chasing with your mind. That is the part most men do not understand. You can go silent and still be chasing. You can stop texting and still be begging inside. You can say, I'm doing no contact while checking her profile every night like a man waiting outside a closed door. That is not power. That is emotional waiting. And in a few minutes, you are going to understand why her return usually begins when your energy stops reaching for her. And before this is over, you will know exactly how to handle the moment she tests the door again, because that is where most men lose everything they worked so hard to rebuild. The biggest mistake a man makes after she leaves is believing he has to do something immediately. He thinks he has to send the right message. He thinks he has to explain what she misunderstood. He thinks he has to apologize one more time. He thinks he has to remind her of the good memories. He thinks he has to prove that no other man will care the way he did. But after a woman pulls away, more pressure usually does not bring her closer. It confirms why she needed distance. That truth hurts, but it can save your dignity. When she leaves, your pain will tell you to chase. Your fear will tell you to fix it now. Your ego will tell you to prove your value. Your loneliness will tell you that one message might change everything. But a man cannot let panic become his leader, because when panic leads, dignity disappears. You start writing paragraphs. You start asking questions that make you look weaker. You start checking her life instead of rebuilding your own. You start explaining your worth to someone who already knows what you gave, and the more you explain, the smaller you feel. A woman does not come back because you made yourself smaller. She comes back if she comes back when she feels the absence of a man who stopped abandoning himself. That is the first shift. Before she comes back, she has to feel that access to you is no longer automatic, not because you are punishing her, not because you are trying to manipulate her, not because you are acting cold, but because you finally understand that your attention has value. If she chooses distance, let her experience distance. If she chooses silence, let her experience silence. If she walks away, stop walking behind her with your dignity in your hands. This is not revenge. This is reality. Most men interrupt the very thing they want her to feel. They want her to miss them, but they keep texting. They want her to wonder, but they keep explaining. They want her to feel their absence, but they keep showing up emotionally, digitally, and mentally. You cannot be missed if you refuse to be absent. That line is simple, but it is the difference between a man who regains control and a man who keeps bleeding his energy into someone who is not choosing him. If she knows you are still waiting, still watching, still available, still emotionally reacting to everything she does, then she does not have to feel the full weight of losing you. You may be out of her inbox, but you are still orbiting her life. That is not no contact. That is hidden chasing. Real no contact is not a trick to make her panic. Real no contact is a boundary. It is the moment you decide, I will not keep offering my emotional energy where it is not being respected. That is where the shift begins. Before she comes back, your energy changes from needy to grounded. A needy man says, please choose me. A grounded man says, I wanted you, but I will not lose myself for you. A needy man waits for signs. A grounded man rebuilds his life. A needy man checks her stories and calls it curiosity. A grounded man protects his peace and calls it discipline. A needy man wants her return to prove his value. A grounded man becomes valuable to himself again. That is the man she starts to feel. Maybe she does not feel it immediately. Maybe she acts like she does not care. Maybe she keeps moving like your absence means nothing. But people feel when access changes. They feel when the energy that used to reach for them is no longer reaching. They feel when the person who used to care loudly becomes quiet for real. And real silence is different. Fake silence is loud inside. It is desperate. It is counting days. It is checking whether she noticed. It is waiting for her to break. Real silence is clean. It is calm. It is not trying to force a reaction. It says, I am not chasing because I respect myself. That kind of silence has weight, and weight creates curiosity. She may begin to wonder why you have not reached out. She may wonder if you moved on. She may wonder if you finally saw something clearly. She may wonder if she lost access to the man who used to care so deeply. This does not mean you build your life around her wondering. That is still weakness. It means you understand the pattern without becoming a slave to it. Before she comes back, she often tests the door. This is where men lose control. The test may not look dramatic. She may not send a long emotional message. She may not say, I made a mistake. She may not say, I want you back. Sometimes it is small, a story view, a like, a random question, a short hey, a message that says, hope you're doing well, a reply to something that did not need a reply, and the old version of you sees that small signal and loses his mind. He starts overthinking. He starts imagining the relationship coming back. He starts planning what to say. He starts wondering if this is the sign he has been waiting for. He wants to reply quickly. He wants to be warm. He wants to be available. He wants to show her the door is still open. And that is exactly where he fails. Because a small signal is not a full return. A story view is not love. A like is not accountability. A hey is not commitment. A soft message is not change behavior. A woman testing the door is not the same as a woman walking through it with clarity. So if she tests the door, you do not collapse. You stay calm. You do not punish her. You do not act bitter. You do not act like you are above her. But you also do not hand her full emotional access because she gave you one small sign. If she says, hey, you can say, hey, hope you're well. That is enough. Then you observe, does she continue with substance? Does she show real interest? Does she speak with clarity? Does she take responsibility? Does she make effort? Or does she disappear the moment she realizes you are no longer easy to pull back in? That tells you everything. A man with self respect does not chase clarity from vague effort. Vague effort gets calm distance. Clear effort can receive clear attention. That is the standard. Before she comes back in a real way, your standard has to become stronger than your excitement because excitement can make a man stupid. One message from her, and suddenly he forgets the nights he could not sleep. He forgets the cold replies. He forgets the confusion. He forgets the pain. He forgets the promises he made to himself. He forgets how hard he fought to stop checking, stop waiting, stop begging inside. Nostalgia is dangerous because it remembers the good and edits out the cost. It remembers her laugh, but forgets how she made you feel when she went cold. It remembers the warmth, but forgets the confusion. It remembers chemistry, but forgets inconsistency. It remembers potential, but forgets patterns. A grounded man does not let nostalgia make decisions. He can appreciate the past without becoming blind to reality. This is what happens before she comes back. You become able to see clearly, not bitterly, clearly. You stop saying she was perfect. She was not. You stop saying I ruined everything. Maybe you made mistakes, but relationships are not built by one person alone. You stop saying if I just explain better, she will understand. Someone who wants to understand does not need you to beg for basic respect. You stop saying, I need closure. Sometimes her behavior was the closure. That is a painful truth. But it gives you power because once you stop needing her to explain your worth, you stop making her the judge of your future. That is when you begin to return to yourself. And before she comes back, you must come back to yourself first. You come back to your routine. You come back to your body, you come back to your work, you come back to your sleep, you come back to your faith, you come back to your discipline, you come back to the man you were before your emotional world became dependent on one woman's attention. This is why rebuilding is not optional. If you stay the same man, the same pattern will repeat. If she comes back and finds the same anxiety, the same overavailability, the same fear, the same hunger for reassurance, then nothing has really changed. And when nothing changes, attraction cannot rebuild in a healthy way. The man she returns to must not be the same man she left, not because you became cold, not because you became cruel, not because you became arrogant, but because you became steady. Steady men are rare. A steady man does not panic when a woman pulls away. He does not beg when she goes silent. He does not perform when he feels rejected. He does not build his whole day around whether she replies. He feels pain, but he does not obey it. That is strength. Not being emotionless, not pretending you do not care, not acting like love means nothing. Strength is when you care deeply and still do not abandon yourself. That is the kind of man who becomes memorable because she expected you to chase. You did not. She expected you to explain. You did not. She expected you to break. You did not. She expected your old pattern. You gave her a new version. And that contrast is what creates curiosity. But understand this clearly. You are not becoming stronger to control her. You are becoming stronger because you cannot afford to be weak every time someone leaves. That is the real lesson. If your emotional control only exists as a strategy to get her back, it is not control, it is performance. And performance breaks the moment she does not respond the way you hoped. Real control is different. Real control says, if she comes back, I will stay grounded. If she does not, I will still stay grounded. That is freedom, and freedom is attractive because it is not needy. Now, before she comes back, another thing often happens. Her curiosity rises when your life becomes less available to her. This is why you must stop posting for her attention. Do not post sad quotes. Do not post fake happiness. Do not post gym photos just to make her jealous. Do not post with another woman to get a reaction. Do not turn your healing into a performance. If you post, post because it is your life. If you train, train because it is your body. If you build, build because it is your future. If you grow, grow because you respect yourself. The moment everything you do is secretly for her reaction, you are still controlled by her. A man controlled by her reaction is not free. And if he is not free, his silence is weak. Before she comes back, your silence must become real. That means you stop checking if she noticed. You stop checking if she viewed. You stop checking if she is jealous. You stop checking if she is watching. You stop turning your own life into a message for her. Your life is not a billboard for your heartbreak. Your life is your responsibility. That is masculine maturity. Now, there is one moment every man needs to prepare for, the late night urge. It happens when everything is quiet. Your mind starts replaying her. You remember the good moments. You imagine her with someone else. You wonder if she forgot you. You want to check. You want to send something small, something safe, something that sounds mature. Hope you're okay. I just want to say I'm sorry. I was thinking about you. I hope there's no bad blood. It sounds calm. But underneath it, you know the truth. You are hoping she replies. That message is not peace, it is a hook. And if she does not take the hook, you will feel worse. So do not send it. Drop it in your notes if you need to. Walk outside. Drink water, pray, train, breathe, sleep. Let the urge pass without turning it into action. Every time you do that, you rebuild self trust. And self trust is everything. When you chase, you lose trust in yourself. When you break your own promise, you lose trust in yourself. When you say, I will not text, then text 5 minutes later, you teach yourself that your emotions are stronger than your standards. That is why confidence disappears. Confidence is not built by telling yourself you are strong. Confidence is built by proving it. Every time you do not chase, you create proof. Every time you do not check, you create proof. Every time you keep your routine while hurting, you create proof. Every time you choose discipline over panic, you create proof. And proof becomes confidence. Before she comes back, you need that confidence because if she returns and you do not trust yourself, you will overreact, you will rush, you will try to secure her too fast, you will ask too many questions, you will make her return the center of your life, and then she will feel the old pressure again. So if she reaches out, your first job is not to win her back. Your first job is to stay yourself. That is the test. If she sends a message and you immediately become the old anxious version of you, you were not rebuilt. You were paused. A man who has truly grown responds differently. He is warm but not desperate. He is open but not hungry. He is kind but not blind. He is calm but not cold. He does not punish her for returning, but he also does not worship the return. He observes because not every return is love. Sometimes she returns because she is lonely. Sometimes she returns because another option failed. Sometimes she returns because guilt is sitting in her chest. Sometimes she returns because she wants to see if she still has access to you. Sometimes she returns because she misses the comfort, not the commitment. Sometimes she returns because she genuinely reflected and wants a real conversation. Those are not the same. And if you are emotionally starving, you will treat all of them like love. Do not do that. Contact is not commitment. A message is not accountability. A miss you is not change behavior. A soft tone is not a repaired relationship. Watch actions. If she comes back with clarity, you can listen. If she comes back with confusion, you step back. If she comes back with accountability, you can move slowly. If she comes back only wanting comfort, you protect your peace. That is how a man with standards moves. Standards are not loud, standards are lived. A standard is not, you better respect me. A standard is, if respect is missing, I will step back. A standard is not, you need to choose me. A standard is, I will not compete for someone's uncertainty. A standard is not, you cannot leave me. A standard is, if you leave, I will not chase you into loving me. That is strength. And before she comes back, she often senses that you now have a line you will not cross against yourself. That changes the dynamic because before, maybe she knew you would chase, maybe she knew you would explain, maybe she knew you would forgive too quickly. Maybe she knew she could go cold and you would try harder. Maybe she knew your boundaries disappeared when you were afraid, but now your energy is different. You do not chase uncertainty. You do not reward distance with desperation. You do not give full access to small effort. You do not make emotional decisions at night. You do not hand your peace to someone who has not earned it. That is the man she feels. But again, do not wait around hoping she feels it. That is still giving her the center. Your 7 day reset starts now. For the next 7 days, do not message her first. Do not check her stories. Do not ask mutual friends about her. Do not post to get her attention. Do not reread old messages at night. Do not make emotional decisions after midnight. For 7 days, train your body, handle your work, fix your sleep, clean your room, eat properly, drink water, walk when anxiety hits, write what you feel, but do not send it. Pray if faith is part of your life. Put your phone away before bed. Build your schedule like your future matters. This is not about pretending you are fine. It is about proving that pain can hurt you without owning you. That is what discipline does. Discipline tells heartbreak, you can visit, but you cannot lead. And when you live like that, your energy becomes heavier in the right way. Not heavy with sadness, heavy with presence, heavy with self respect, heavy with calm. A man with calm presence does not need to chase. He does not need to convince. He does not need to beg. He does not need to make her jealous. He does not need to make her regret anything. He simply becomes harder to replace because he has stopped acting replaceable. That is the quiet power of self respect. Now, do not misunderstand this as a promise that every woman comes back. No one can promise that. Some women will not return, some should not return. Some leaving is protection, some silence is a blessing you do not recognize yet, but the pattern remains true. Before a woman comes back in any meaningful way, something changes in the dynamic. Your energy stops chasing, your absence becomes real, your life starts moving forward. Her certainty about your availability begins to weaken. And if she still has feeling, curiosity, regret, or respect left, that space can bring it to the surface. But the deeper win is not that she comes back. The deeper win is that you stop needing her to come back in order to feel like a man. That is the transformation. A weak man says, how do I make her return? A stronger man says, how do I become solid whether she returns or not? A weak man asks, is she thinking about me? A stronger man asks, am I becoming someone I respect? A weak man waits for a text. A stronger man builds a life. That is the difference. And when you become the stronger man, you are no longer easy to control. Her silence does not own you. Her attention does not own you. Her return does not own you. Her absence does not own you. Your memories do not own you. Your urges do not own you. You feel, but you choose. That is freedom. So when you feel tempted to check her profile, ask yourself, will this make me stronger or weaker? When you feel tempted to send a message, ask, am I sending this from peace or panic? When you feel tempted to post for her attention, ask, am I building a life or performing one? When she finally reaches out, ask, is this clarity or is this just access? Those questions will protect you because the wrong response can pull you back into the old cycle. And the old cycle is simple. She pulls away, you chase. She goes cold, you get anxious. She gives crumbs, you get hopeful. She disappears, you collapse. She returns, you forget your standards. That cycle ends when you stop participating in it. You do not need her permission to become free. You become free by changing your response. That is what happens before she comes back. You stop being predictable in weakness. You become predictable in strength. She knows you will not beg. She knows you will not chase. She knows you will not compete. She knows you will not fold because she sent one soft message. She knows access to you now requires respect. That is powerful, but the power must be quiet. Do not announce it. Do not send a message saying, I've changed. Do not tell her you are not the same man. Do not explain your growth. Live it. If she returns, she will feel it. If she does not, your life will still benefit from it. That is how you know the growth is real. Real growth helps you either way. Fake growth only feels useful if she notices. Do not live for her notice. Live for your own respect, because months from now, whether she came back or not, you will have to live with the man you became during the silence. Become a man you are proud of. Become the man who did not beg. Become the man who did not stalk. Become the man who did not turn pain into pressure. Become the man who did not let heartbreak destroy his discipline. Become the man who did not chase someone into choosing him. That is the man she may look back at differently, but more importantly, that is the man you can look at in the mirror without shame. And that matters more than her return. So tonight, do not sit there asking, is she coming back? Ask, am I coming back to myself? Put the phone down. Stop checking. Stop waiting. Stop performing. Stop turning every silence into a prediction. Train, work, sleep, pray, walk, build. Write your thoughts and keep your dignity. Let your life become bigger than the woman who left it. If she comes back, let her meet a stronger man. If she never comes back, become that stronger man anyway. That is the win. The real thing that happens right before she comes back is not magic. It is not a perfect text. It is not a secret trick. It is the moment your energy stops begging for her return and starts standing in its own direction. You become calm. You become disciplined. You become less available to chaos. You become harder to control. You become more focused on your purpose. You become protective of your peace. You become the man who can be missed because he finally knows how to be absent. And when a woman feels that shift, she may look back. She may wonder. She may test the door. She may return. But by then, you are no longer sitting there like the old version of yourself, waiting to be chosen. You are standing in your own life. That is the point, because after she leaves, the question is not only will she come back, the real question is, who do I become while she is gone? Become the man who does not chase. Become the man who does not collapse. Become the man who can love deeply without begging. Become the man who turns silence into strength, pain into standards, and loss into direction. And in the next video, you will learn exactly how to respond when she finally reaches out, what to say, what not to say, and how to stay calm when her message tests the man you became.